Hi, I'm Patrick McLennan with more from the wild world of soaps. There's a nasty dose of flu in Walford being spread by a contagious germ, better known as Janine Malloy. Pat starts to suspect Janine is back to her black ways and sneaks into her house while she's out to find a very poorly Ryan. But Janine arrives back and claims it's just the flu. The nightmare nurse carries on administering her remedy and insists that delirious Ryan stays in bed, even taking his place behind the Vicks bar. Things get worse for Ryan when in the middle of his fever he declares his love for Stacey and a deranged Janine decides to up his dose. Meanwhile, Stacey thinks she's been stood up by Ryan and later says he's dead to her when he apparently dumps her by text. Only it's not Ryan who sent the SMS. Glenda also ends up in a bad way after a mystery assailant shoves her downstairs outside her flat. Who could that be? Well, there may be a longish queue, seeing as how she's been playing Ian off against Phil and then insults everyone at Ben Mitchell's welcome home party. Speaking of Ben, he arrives home after his Borstal break to find Jay has formally become a Mitchell, not the welcome he was expecting. It's clear his experience inside has changed him because he confronts Phil and punches him. I wonder how the hard man is going to react to that. Next, it's Corrie. It's the morning after the tragedy and the enormity and scale of the disaster is quickly permeating the street. Understandably, Corrie are keeping the names of the victims well quiet, but it's fair to say not one person is unaffected. Some are fighting for their lives in hospital while others are trying to cover their tracks. One family is given hope while another is told their child will die without an immediate blood transfusion. Meanwhile, a fire officer investigates the gas problem in the joinery and gossip soon starts about just who's responsible. Some of the residents return to work to bury their heartache as the first funeral takes place on Thursday. Then another is buried on Friday. But as this life is raked over, uncomfortable truths emerge and a chilling accusation is made that causes a brawl at the graveside. Meanwhile, Becky has her ill-gotten gains, but will she hand it to Kylie? Or will she see sense and return the loot? Probably not, because Steve gets very suspicious when a terrified Becky learns that the shop's CCTV cameras survived the crash. It's all kicking off in Corrie. You won't want to miss it next week. Finally, it's Emmerdale. A worried Rona goes for another scan and hears the news no mum-to-be could bear to hear. Her child may have Down syndrome. Marlon stays positive, trying to give her strength, but Rona's not sure she can cope with the Downs baby, especially not in these circumstances. When it's confirmed later in the week, she tells Marlon she's having a termination, but he begs her to change her mind, arguing all three of them are in it together. But will she? Chaz's regrets at her humiliation of Carl grow until she sees him talking to Eve again. What she doesn't know though is Carl is telling Eve that he loves Chaz. When she realises Eve is deeply upset, she suspects that Carl has called off the affair. Come on Chaz, you know you want him. Hazel's in a state when she realises the house won't be ready for Jackson before Christmas, but maybe miracles do happen. She refuses Ashley's offer of the church collection, but then discovers her builders have been paid. Who is this Santa?